So thanks for everyone for coming out and joining our little session here today. Thrilled to chat with you a bit about what we're doing and chat a bit about the amazing work that Supergoop is doing. And just to get things started off, we'll go a little icebreaker session here and just say, what do you think is the last thing that you bought on your mobile device online?
Sure. So there's a little bit of a story with this one. It was recently my husband's birthday, and he's a big, big ice cream fan, specifically a big, big Ample Hills fan. Anyone know Ample Hills, Brooklyn? Where Brooklyn at? Yeah.
Shout out there. Yeah.
And they recently had this promo where you could buy several pints of ice cream at a time, but I didn't realize that the minimum was 10 pints of ice cream. So obviously I had this delivered to my office because I don't have a doorman, and all of a sudden a cooler filled of 10 pints of ice cream was delivered, and I had to stuff it all in the freezer. I had to like move people's things around. It was a little weird, but the mobile experience was great. So yeah, that was the last thing.
Yeah, and it's germane too because we do have a slide, I think, about the growth of online purchasing of ice cream. So that's
yeah,
good.
exactly. We're gonna.
Is anyone here selling ice cream online? Is there anyone in that? No? Okay. Potential opportunity. Just throwing that out there for first takeaway.
DTC ice cream.
So, we're very focused today in today's panel. I'll jump on in. We're very focused today's panel on mobile and optimizing the mobile flow. And I guess just to start off with, I know that you have been seeing some interesting trends about mobile. Want to talk a little bit about that. So what are you seeing in terms of mobile traffic, mobile engagement with your consumers?
Yeah, so we've had tremendous growth on mobile in the first half of this year, and we haven't really, apart from Attentive, of course, launched some of the initiatives that we think will really take this to the next level, mobile live chat, mobile replenishment. But what we have seen so far, from a traffic perspective, we've seen that 3/4 of our traffic is coming from mobile versus just half last year. So that tells us that, the shift in user behavior, and not only like the fruits of all of our mobile acquisition initiatives, but also people are just changing the way they're consuming. From a sales perspective, about half of our revenue and half of our conversions come from mobile now versus just a third this time last year. So that's super significant for us. Thanks, Attentive.
Yeah.
And then also another really key factor here was new customers. So we found that about 3/4 in the first half of the year are coming from mobile versus just half last year. So so many more people are discovering the brand for the first time on their phones. So it's so important for us now to really focus on our mobile experience because we don't want to lose these people as this is the first time that they're seeing the brand, especially for a small brand.
So talking about focusing on the mobile experience, I understand you guys have done a lot to change the look and feel of your mobile site. And spent a lot of time thinking about that. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you did in order to sort of hit those kind of ridiculous mobile numbers over the last year?
Yeah, sure. So in April of this year, we totally relaunched, replatformed, rebranded our website. And I'd actually argue that from a mobile perspective, we haven't necessarily gone far enough yet. So anyone in the room that's relaunched, replatformed a website, aside from it being a huge undertaking, as much as you try to push your development team, your agencies to think mobile first, it's hard to change that mindset and change that behavior because sometimes it's just simply easier to design for desktop. But I think we definitely tried, and I think we achieved this in the best way really by making our mobile experience a much more feed-like experience. So people are consuming so much content on Instagram these days and feed-like apps. We wanted to make sure that it felt more familiar and more attuned to what they're doing outside of transactional experiences and commercial experiences. So for example, our product detail page for a beauty brand, we wanted to make sure that our imagery and our iconography and our copy was all stacked. So it was like the normal feed-like experience that they're used to. Hi, welcome.
Come join us, George.
Yeah.
Come up here, George. Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that it looked completely different from mobile, that it was stacked. We didn't want to have too much copy. You won't see too much text in a row. Just definitely feel more like something that they're used to. And then also with the type of media that we were putting on site, we wanted to kind of echo that as well. For example, people are looking at memes, GIFs, boomerangs these days, really quick, short elements like that. So when we were thinking about our how-to videos, so in the beauty industry, especially for a brand that has 23 different types of sunscreens, it's important for us to show everyone how to use it because every single one is different. So we could do long form videos. That's what we did in the past. But from a site speed perspective, and then also just that familiar way to consume content, we decided to turn it into a GIF. So it's a really short GIF of a model applying mousse or applying lotion or putting on a powder or a setting spray. And we've had really great reactions to that as well, which has led to conversions on those pages. And not to mention, it's much better from a site speed perspective.
Site speed, very important. So we got people that are browsing around. They're learning a lot about the products with tutorials, images, whatever it might be. Now comes to, I think, still one of the big problems within mobile, but certainly getting better is conversion rates. We see conversion rates on mobile be about half of what they are on desktop on average. What type of steps have you taken to get someone on mobile to actually reach that purchase?
Yeah, so if it first starts on that product detail page with our add to cart button. So the mechanic for adding to cart is completely different than it is on desktop. That add to cart is front and center, it's big, it's right where your thumb is, it's about the size of your thumb, and it's just a lot easier than obviously just making a desktop add to cart mechanic smaller. We wanted to have as few barriers as possible. So our checkout experience on mobile is as few steps as we could possibly make it. I think we're even working more on that in the next generation and working with our dev team to make that even shorter. And one of the key things also that we are launching actually this week, we're rolling out, is mobile payments. So I know I have abandoned many a cart if there was no Apple Pay. So we're rolling out Apple Pay and Google Pay this week, which will be key for us. We actually purposely left some breathing room since launch. So like I said, we launched in April. We wanted to get a good baseline for performance, and now we're super excited to see what payments does for us. I think it'll be really huge to that conversion. But I think, keeping it short, as few steps as possible, just thinking about it from a consumer perspective. You know, I'm buying all that ice cream. We're all buying things on mobile, and we just don't want to take a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the eyeballs have gone a bit faster than the technology has changed to accommodate that flow. But the fact that it's still at this point, with how really bad a lot of mobile checkouts still are, the fact that today it's about half is pretty amazing, because I think that there's a lot that almost every company can do to improve that flow. Secondly, people who have been in mobile commerce will remember just a few years ago where it used to be a third or less for people transacting. And that's also in a world where there's a lot of companies spending a lot of time making that desktop checkout experience a lot smoother too. So I think it is pretty amazing to see how quickly those things are developing. So you now have a pretty great looking site.
Thank you.
And you've got a conversion pathway where people are buying stuff. What sort of channels are you focused on in using in order to drive traffic to that experience? How do you look at that? How do you set that up? What do you do in order to get the eyeballs there?
Yeah, so we're very heavy, as I imagine everybody is, on paid Facebook and Instagram. We've seen some of the cost implications of those channels, as I'm sure everybody has lately. We haven't felt it as much, actually, because our target is very broad. So everybody needs SPF, right? Everybody in this room, everybody outside of this room needs SPF. It's not like we're just targeting early adopters or just targeting millennials. So we haven't seen those implications as much, which is great. That being said, we are constantly looking for other ways to drive mobile acquisition. We've just had a foray into podcasting, which is really exciting. As a big podcast fan, this was a huge lever that we wanted to pull. And then from a retention standpoint, so once we get them there, email is still a big part of our communications mix, but SMS is becoming a bigger and bigger part ever since, of course, the launch of Attentive. We have a very diverse communications mix on SMS. We really view it as an ecosystem. So we use it for acquisition. We use it for, there's some of our SMSs. We use it from a retention standpoint and a little bit as a customer care standpoint as well. We do have a dialogue going with our consumers a little bit. People do text back to some of these texts, believe it or not. So sometimes erroneously, sometimes we get some interesting text, some breakup text. But you
were saying before this that you've seen some really funny texts, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. So people just, I guess they're not looking at who they're sending it to. So we get a lot of like, was Aunt Carol there? Or like, meet me at the nail salon at 5. But we got one yesterday that was a very, very long, dramatic breakup text, which was, I was like, I really hope this works out for them. Oh, thanks.
Did you reply to the message?
I
That's what everyone wants to know.
I didn't. I was like, I think she needs to realize this mistake, get the automated message so she realizes the mistake, and then take it offline. But I did reply to the nail salon one.
Okay.
I said, make sure you're using Supergoop hand cream.
Oh, okay. Always finding another way to push the channel.
Totally.
And just to speak to some of these examples, you touched on them quickly, but you want to speak a little bit more about the type of ways that you're engaging in this channel and what you're kind of thinking about, because I think your messages have been particularly interesting.
Thanks. Yeah. So we have a few different content buckets when it comes to SMS. It's a very different channel than email. You're targeting and getting these people at very different times. Usually people actively check their email, they're expecting it, it kind of just pops up. And one of the things that is really important for our SMS subscriber list is that they feel like VIPs. We want to make sure that these people feel like they're an elite part of the Supergoop community, because they really are. And as a result, we give them special offers, just special treatment. So one of the most successful levers that we pulled from the VIP standpoint is launching early on SMS. So every time we launch a new product, we've launched about 4 amazing new products this year. We launch a day early on SMS. So Unseen Sunscreen, the one you see here, we launched that. That was a big January launch for us, still one of our top SKUs. It was hugely successful. We launched it on January 1st in ads, site-wide, and email, but we launched it on December 31st for our SMS list. And we've done that for every subsequent launch this year, and we'll continue to do that. Additionally, the SMS subscriber list, they get early access to all of our site-wide sales. So our Friends and Family sale, Black Friday, they have access to it a day early as well, which just really kicks off the momentum. It's been very successful. And then some just straight up exclusive offers that they can't get anywhere else. So exclusive gift with purchases and things like that.
And talk to me about launching a sunscreen new product on January 1st. How was
I'm
that?
so glad you asked. So one of our big mantras, if you will, at Supergoop is SPF obsessed every single day, because SPF is really something that is not just for the pool, not just for the beach, not just for the summer. You really need to wear SPF every day of your life. 90%, here's some Sun 101 for you, 90% of the signs of aging come from the sun, which is crazy. And 1 in 5 Americans will be diagnosed with skin cancer. And it's largely preventable with SPF. And it's really that daily exposure to the sun that's causing the signs of aging and other factors. So for us, in an effort to get people to wear SPF every single day, we need to create formulas that work with their everyday routine, especially for women with makeup. So Unseen Sunscreen is completely clear, and it serves as a primer for before makeup, and it is really a wonderful makeup cripping primer, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. But yeah, it was hugely successful for us. I mean, the ladies know January is a huge month for skincare in general, and so Supergoop is really more of a skincare lifestyle brand than it is just sunscreen.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And yes, as I mentioned, though I don't use it as much myself, my wife absolutely loves it. And
I
of all the
know.
free products
She's
that
a
I
big
get from
fan.
customers, it's number one, which is a nice segue into our next point, I guess just we do have a copy of the case study on the work that we've done together, which is available at our booth. And if you visit supergoop.com and sign up for the text program at the bottom of the screen there that loads up, and then come by our booth and get it, we do have free Supergoop to give out to folks that sign up for that program, come by our booth, along with our case study and some sunglasses and inflatable beach ball and other stuff.
Yes.
And you can learn more about the results. And we didn't mention it too, but my marketing person's going to be mad at me if I don't ask. How about the results side? Have you seen success so far with the channel then?
We have, definitely. So our SMS subscriber list is currently growing at 10x the rate of our email subscriber list, which is pretty incredible. And our automated messaging, we have 80% click-through rate on our welcome series automated messaging, and 30x ROI as well. So it's been great for us. And it's also an opportunity for us not only to talk about product, but also to educate and talk about that Sun 101 I was talking about, which furthers our mission of changing the way people think about sunscreen. So it's been really an amazing channel for us so far.
Well, thank you very much for discussing it. And I do think it's very important for everyone to at least try out Supergoop and make Sun 101 part of their lifestyle.
Agree.
So feel free to come by our booth and check that out. We have a limited supply, but we do have a pretty decent sized supply. So come on by, and I appreciate everyone taking the time to meet with us today. And also, if you have other questions about any of this stuff, grab us afterwards or whatever. So thank you, everyone, for your time, and have a great rest of the show.
Thank you.